Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Drake Mullins, and today we're going to be discussing the marketing function. Within the marketing function in the Capstone simulation, you're making decisions across four areas: price, promotional budget, sales budget, and forecast. We'll begin with the discussion of price. What should you charge for your products? The answer should be driven by consumer preferences. You shouldn't be making these decisions blindly. For each of the segments in which your sensors compete, you have consumer preferences available to you. So we'll go to reports, low-end segment, and examine the consumer preferences for that low-end segment represented by customer buying criteria. These preferences remain constant across all of the segments in the industry, although the importance in the buying decision change across those segments. For the low-end segment, the most important buying criteria is price. It represents 53% of the purchase decision. You're always given a $10 range for price across all segments. When you price your sensor above that range or below that range, sales drop off rather quickly. At $1 above that range, you'll lose 20% of your sales. At another dollar above that range, you'll lose 40% of your sales, and so on until you have no sales. The same holds true if you go below that range. So it's important that we price our sensors within this range. Furthermore, although you're given a range, consumers prefer a price at the low end of the range. You need to bear in mind how important that is in their purchase decision and how important it is for you to fall in that range and where you want to fall in that range. It can have a rather dramatic impact on your sales in that segment. Now if we go to, let's say, the performance segment, we have those same four buying criteria, but now price is only 19% of the purchase decision. Now it might not be important to be at the low end of that range because it's not representing as much importance in the consumer's purchase decisions. I should note that I'm not telling you to price your sensors at the low end of the range. You need to be aware of your margins. You should shoot for margins of 30%. How much are you earning on every product you sell? When you're below that 30%, you either need to reduce your cost or raise your prices. So when developing your decisions, you need to look at the integration across decisions and balance total sales, your market share, against your margins. You need to sell products, but you need to sell those products profitably. So be aware of your market share and additionally your margins on those products. Next, we will briefly discuss your promotional budget. Your promotional budget is your awareness. How aware are consumers of your product? Whereas your sales budget is the accessibility. Your consumers are aware of your products, or those consumers who are aware of the product, how easy is it for them to buy the product? Each round, you lose awareness to the tune of 33%. So think about Kia. If they stopped advertising today, no more advertisements, over time, consumers would be less aware of their products and the benefits of those products. So how much should you spend in your promotional budget to raise your awareness? Because you're losing 33% annually. When we have a question like this, again, don't make the decision blindly. We can go to our team member guide, and this should be searchable. And let's briefly look at the promotional budget. You can read through this on your own time. It's effectively telling you what I just told you. You're losing 33% of your awareness. Then we look at the return on your investment in your promotional budget. We can note that to maintain the 33% that we're going to lose, we need an investment of $1.4 million. And I didn't draw that line straight. After $1.5 million, you begin to experience diminishing marginal returns. That is, for every dollar spent after $1.5 million, you get a smaller return on that investment. So at $1.5 million, you get an increase in awareness of 36%. At $3 million, you get an increase in awareness of 50%. So between $1.5 million and $3 million, you're only getting a 14-point increase in your awareness. After $3 million, there's virtually no return to spending additional dollars. Therefore, your promotional budget should never exceed $3 million. Now, even after $2.5 million, you only get 1 or 2 points more. So effectively, the most you can increase your awareness budget or your awareness each round is by 50%, and that would be spending $3 million. Also, you can estimate the return on your investment. As an example of this, let's say that our fast product currently has a promotional budget of $1 million, since it is in thousands. Let's bump that up to $1.5 million. So we're spending an additional $500,000 on our promotional budget. And let's see what it does to our benchmark prediction, which indicates how many sales we're expected to have with some conditions which we'll discuss in a moment. So it's at 533. We recalculated, and by increasing our promotional budget by $500,000, it went from 533 to 578, again in thousands, so that represents an increase of 45,000 pairs of shoes. We can then look at how much we're earning on each shoe sold. We can see our fast product, we're selling it for $28. We can look at our production to get our cost. Our total cost for that fast product is $18.99. So think about this for a moment. How much are we earning on each shoe that we sell? Then we can go back to our marketing, and we can determine if that increase of 500,000 was worth it by multiplying the additional shoes that we're going to sell by our margin on those shoes. That's a good indication if it's going to earn a return this round, but you should also bear in mind that the decisions can impact future rounds. By increasing your promotional budget, it'll have a positive impact not only on this round, but the next round also, and the next round, because you'll start at a higher point in awareness. Your sales budget, as I mentioned, is looking at the accessibility. How easy is it for consumers to buy your product when they want to do so? Again, we can think of Kia. I grew up in a small town in southwest Kansas. There's not a Kia dealership there. The closest Kia dealership is 2 hours away. Is Kia accessible for people in my hometown? Well, yes, it is accessible. People could drive, but it's not easily accessible. We can expect sales to decline because consumers don't have them ready to buy in front of them. They have to drive 2 hours, and then there's an inconvenience when maintenance is needed. You can go to the members guide to look at the chart that displays diminishing marginal returns for your sales budget. I'm not going to delve into that now. It's similar to your promotional budget with one difference. That difference is your promotional budget is for single products, whereas the sales budget is for a segment in the industry. So you can look at the chart that demonstrates how much return you'll get on your investment, and then realize that's for a segment. So if you have multiple products competing in a single segment, you can balance that budget across them. We then have your benchmark prediction. Your benchmark prediction is good for the way I demonstrated it to you, to show, how much more are you estimated to sell if you make a change in your pricing, change in your promotional budget, a change in your sales budget. But it's not good to use as a forecast. And let's click on the information button to determine why. The benchmark prediction estimates unit sales assuming your product competes with a standardized, mediocre playing field. It does not use your actual competitors' products. It is useful for experimenting with price, promo, and sales budget. It is useless for forecasting. So it doesn't consider the actual decisions that your rivals are making. Your performance is going to be partly dependent upon the decisions you make and partly dependent upon the decisions your rivals make. So think about competing with a firm like Walmart versus competing against a firm like a small mom and pop shop. Walmart is a strong competitor. They have a strong strategy. They have resources invest to advance their interest. So competing against a firm like Walmart is going to make it more difficult for rivals to be successful. Since the benchmark prediction shouldn't be utilized as a forecast, how should you forecast? There are methods provided to you within the player's guide, member's guide. One such method is looking at your sales in the current round and applying the segment's growth rate to those sales. So let's say you sold, for some simplicity, 100 products, 100 sensors this round, and the segment in which it competed has a growth rate of 10%. All else held constant, you would expect to sell 110 sensors in the following round. If you're using this methodology to forecast your sales, you should be aware that some of your sensors are likely competing across multiple segments. In those instances, you're going to need to look at the sales in each of those segments and apply the growth rate across those different segments to arrive at a total forecast. That should be or could be a baseline. I would also consider the changes you're making in your products. Let's say we did in fact increase our promotional budget and we are going to sell 100 additional shoes based on our benchmark prediction. It may be prudent to add those 100 sensors to your forecast. With that, we'll conclude the discussion on marketing. Thank you for watching this tutorial.